Hello friends, welcome to the ASP.NET Core Blazor tutorial. In this tutorial, we will see lifecycle methods of component in Blazor. In the previous tutorial, we have seen what is the Razor component or we can say the Blazor component in Blazor. So basically, there are some life cycle which follow when we are going to land on any razor component. So first of all, when we are going to land on a razor component, first it call on initialize method, and then if they after this on initialize method, it called on initialize async method, and after this it call on parameterized set, like any value we set, and that we write under this on parameter set method, and after that it call on parameter set async, and after this it call on after render parameter methods, and after that it call on after render async. Means in on after render method we write all the DOM things, and if you want to put any, or we want to call any like JavaScript library, we keep those things under this on after render method, and after this it called should render, and then status has change method, and after all these method it called finally the disposal interface, and then it dispose the life cycle or the life cycle of this razor component. So basically these are the main life cycle follow when we are going to land on the Blazor component. So basically, like on init and on init async method called when the component has been initialized. This method triggered when the component has received its initial parameter from parent. The on init method called first, and then it execute on init async method any asynchronous operation that require the component to re-render on initialization should be written in on init async method, and after on init method it called on parameterize set and on parameterize set async. So these methods are called after the initialization of component. These methods are called each time when new or update parameter are received from the parent in the render tree. The properties related to parameter are set before this method is called. Like if anything is changing in the parameter, then every time these method call, and after that it call on after render and on after render async. So these methods are called after the rendering of component. When these methods are called, all the element and child component are populated. These methods can be used to wind event listener that require the element to be rendered in the DOM, and they can also be used to initialize the JavaScript library. So those kind of things we put under this on after render method. And next comes the set parameter. So basically this method is triggered before the parameter are set. This method can be used to modify the parameter before rendering the component. If we override this method, we need to call base class. So set parameter method, we have to call this set parameter base method, otherwise incoming parameter can't be assigned to the properties on the class, hence UI can't be rendered. And the next is the should render. This means it return boolean, because this should render take the boolean parameter, and based on the return of this method UI can be re-render. It will be called after the component initialized, so the component is always initially rendered, and after that it called state has changed. This method is used to notify the component that state has changed, and this method is called after any lifecycle method. This can be invoked manually or re-render the UI. This method can't be overridden. And the next is finally is the disposal or dispose method. So this method is used to dispose the component, and it called when we leave the page, or what we can say when we are going to leave any razor component, then this dispose method called, and it dispose the component. So basically in my Visual Studio, in the application which we are working, I have created a method like like on initialize method, then I created another method called on initialize async. So I have defined all the lifecycle method which comes in Razor component lifecycle. So I have written all these methods here, like you can see, like and inside that I have written like console.writeLine. So respective method I have written it. So now I will load this page, and we'll see like which method called first. So we will see those things under the output. So let's spin it, and I'm going to run this application, and then we will see here which method it call first. So let's go here, and in this I will move to Blazor app, and here we will see like which method it will call first. Like, so we can see here like here it is coming like on init, then after that on init async. So it is calling the respective method. So it proves like first of all it call the on init method, and then follow up to the these methods. So this is the life cycle of the Razor component in the Blazor. And for understanding this flow, what I will do, let's unpin it, and I will take these on initialize and on initialize async at last. So we will be much clear like it is calling on initialize and on initialize async like first. So let's save it, and what I will do, I will clear this log first and I will run it. So at this time first it should load the on initialize and on initialize async, because I have this is the life cycle of the Razor component. So let's see it like how it is calling. So go here, and we will see now it should load on initialize method and follow up. Then yeah, we can see here like it first of all it is calling on initialize, then on initialize async, and then the like respective methods it is calling. So it proves like this is the life cycle of the Razor component. Like we can see like first of all it call the on initialize, and then on initialize async, and then respective to these, and at finally when we move to another page or we leave the respective component, then it by default call the dispose method. So this is the life cycle of Razor component. If you have any question or doubt, please comment. Thank you.